Hey folks, it's Neil from Anchor Ranch Farm in beautiful Scioto, Oregon. Getting to the end of summer here, and this is the last batch of chickens for the season. It's very windy, so we'll see how this goes. Well, not very windy, but it's windy enough that there might be audio issues. Anyways, this is kind of an update to a video I made a few years ago about Mink-Proofing chicken coops. I haven't had a working video camera / phone for about a year, but I've got something that works now. So yeah, Mink-Proofing the chicken coops. That didn't work, or it worked for several years, but this year the minks found their way in despite all the precautions that I spoke about in that video, and possibly in collusion, based on how the birds were killed, possibly in collusion with either a raccoon or a skunk. But I know the mink were involved because I saw them. Unfortunately, I have not caught them. Yeah, so I had to revisit some things here. Essentially, so the problem with minks going in the chicken coop, when you have a pastured poultry-based system where they're protected inside, supposedly protected inside the coop, and you move the coops every day, whether it's these John Siskovich style chicken tractors that I use, or the Salatin style tractor, or something else. The problem is, once a mink or a weasel gets inside, they're attracted to motion. Of course, the chickens are all trying to get away, so they're moving, and the chickens can't get out, so the mink kills them all. So anytime we have a mink inside a chicken tractor, we essentially lose all of the chickens, unless we manage to catch it. So what I've switched to is kind of a hybrid, kind of a day ranging system. You can see I've got waterers out here, I've got food out, and then this one, actually I didn't even take off the old chicken wire, but you can see I've got 1/2-inch hardware cloth, this stuff, 1/2-inch hardware cloth all over the chicken tractor, everywhere, every conceivable hole that there is. On some of them where there's gaps in the doors, I've even got hardware cloth overlapping the doors, at the bottom of the doors, and also on the floors of the chicken tractors. I've got 1/2-inch hardware cloth. So they're completely surrounded in 1/2-inch hardware cloth. If a mink manages to get through that, I think we're just out of this chicken raising business and we'll do something else. But so far it's worked very well. So far we've had no more losses to predators. I would expect day ranging to lose some to hawks. There's some tall trees over there where hawks perch sometimes. But a hawk is going to take 1 or 2 chickens a week. That's much better than losing an entire coop full to a mink. So we'll see how that goes. Now this is a hybrid system, so I am still moving them. I've got a video about why I think corporate claims of free-range chicken are misleading. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that they're lying, but certainly deliberately misleading. Because if you free-range chickens, you can see they've been in this area 3 days. Now this is also the worst part of the field, which is why I'm running chickens here. I want to put more nitrogen down here before the rains start this fall. But you can see what they've done to the area here. If you free-range chickens and you don't move them, you're going to destroy all the foliage in the area, and there will be nothing, and they'll eat all the bugs, and there will be nothing for them to forage. So, and that's what most of these corporate ags, supposedly free-range chicken places do. They're charging you extra money for what's essentially a factory farmed chicken. But what I do with these is every 3 days or so, depending on how things look, I move all the chicken tractors forward to an area where the chickens haven't been very much. And then every week or so, they're surrounded by this electric fence. Every week or so, I leapfrog the entire operation, move the electric fence forward, and move all of the coops forward, and then sort of corral the chickens into the new area. That's worked okay so far. It's a lot of work. It's more work to move these because the hardware cloth is heavier, and the floors make it a little more difficult to move them over the ground. You certainly can't do it with any chickens inside, so the chickens have to be out, and then that means I have to make sure that they move to the new area and find the food and the water and everything like that. So on a daily basis, it's less work because all I'm doing is feeding and watering them and opening the doors and then closing them up at night. Well, it should be less work. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that in a bit. Then on the days when I move the mobile coops, that's a little extra work. And then it's a pretty big production to move the fence and everything, especially most of it is corralling the chickens to get to the new space, to get most of them over there so that the stragglers will follow. That's kind of a production, but overall it kind of works out where it's about the same amount of work, just rather than moving the tractors daily and doing that, it's sort of spaced out over several days or every week or so. Obviously the stocking rate in these is much higher than a standard pasture-raised system where you've got the birds in the coops and you're moving them every day, and that's because the birds are not they're not in the coop all day. These guys, I just fed them for the second time today, so they're going back in the coops to find water. Those waterers are always filled because I want to make sure they have water at night, even though chickens don't really move around at night. The ones outdoors sometimes go dry, so they kind of go inside to get water a lot of the time. But obviously they're mostly outdoors during the day, and you can see them even sitting in the shade if they're not in the coop. So the stocking rate is of course higher because they're not in the tractors all the time. They're just in there at night, and at nighttime when it's dark, chickens just kind of shut down. They don't move at all, so there doesn't need to be a lot of room. I actually have 4 chicken tractors here, and they only use, at least last night, these might go in here today, I don't know, but last night this coop was completely empty. They all went in. The other 3, I can't really force them to go in one coop or the other, so clearly they don't feel it. They aren't seeking more space at night. It's getting a little colder. They want to clump up and share warmth together. But the downside of this is these Cornish. The Red Rangers do great in this system. I've tried a similar system, not quite this extensive, with the Red Rangers before, and they're great. They're decent foragers. They'll go out. They'll jump that electric fence is not to keep the chickens in. That's to keep feral cats out, and also to keep my sheep out, because in the spring, the early spring, when we're lambing, our sheep lamb just naturally outdoors in the field. But if it's it's cold and rainy, I'll move these coops next to where they are. In the wintertime, I mob graze the sheep in small to sort of control where they go. So I'll move these mobile chicken coops in with the sheep so that they can go inside and get shelter. And if there's a new lamb born, they can go inside, or I might take them inside if it's raining and cold, just to get shelter. And then move these with the sheep when I move them. But so the sheep come over whenever I open the coops up because they want to go inside and take a nap in there. That's part of what the fence is for, and also protection. But the downside of this is that the Cornish cross in the morning, when I open the coops up, they all literally fly out of the coops to come get the food because they're extremely food focused, and the Red Rangers do also. But then in the evening, they're so full and they're so lazy that they'll just plop themselves down outside the coops and they won't bother to go inside. So it's actually been significantly more work this year because every night when the sun goes down, I have to come out here and almost all of the Cornish cross will be essentially asleep outside of the chicken tractor. I've got to pick them up and put them inside so they'll be safe. So I don't know, you know, I'm sure I could design a different style of coop, the chickshaw type of thing that Justin Rhodes uses would probably work. But I've got a significant, I mean, I've got hundreds and hundreds of dollars of materials invested in these, plus a whole lot of time. So, and we use them for the sheep and for other things. So the solution may be just to not do Cornish cross next year and just do the Red Rangers. They're more expensive to raise because they take longer, and even though they forage more, they also eat more. They're not as food efficient, but I like the Red Rangers. They're nice birds. They're fun to raise, and they're easier in this day range system. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, that's so far it's worked to keep the minks and the raccoons and the skunks and the feral cats out at night and in the daytime. Oh, the reason for day ranging, by the way, end of the video. The reason for day ranging is that if the chickens can run away, then if a mink comes or any sort of daycare predator, the predator's they're looking for food, so they're going to kill one chicken, but the rest can run away. So at least that's my hypothesis, is what's going to happen. So that's the reason for day ranging, is that this way, if the predators come, the chickens can at least run away, and then at nighttime, when they essentially shut down and don't move, I've got the coops locked up tight, entirely covered with 1/2-inch hardware cloth. So theoretically, nothing can get in and nothing can get out. And it's worked so far. I'm sure I'll make another update video maybe next year, you know, to discuss progress, discuss if this has actually worked. But that's where we are right now. All right, I'm gonna leave these guys and girls to, of course you can see the Cornish cross are at the feeders. It's the middle of the day, so it's the hottest part of the day, so the Red Rangers are sort of taking a rest. But the Cornish cross, they are very food motivated. That's why they grow so fast. That's the standard chicken that everybody eats everywhere. Red Rangers, a little bit, I don't want to say they have to be tougher, but they're certainly not as, they certainly can be a little bit tougher. They're not tough, depending on how you raise them and how you cook them. They're a little bit less forgiving when you cook them, I suppose. A lot more flavor, a more balanced carcass. You get more leg meat. You know, the Cornish cross are designed to have huge breasts. The Red Rangers are not a heritage bird, but they're about as close to a heritage bird as you can get with a meat bird. Okay, well, there we go. Thanks. Again, it's an update to the, maybe this is a mink-proof system. We'll see. All right, folks. Anchor Ranch Farm, anchorranchfarm.com for more about us. Peace be with you.